Haha, we are live. Hello and welcome, heroes, to the Crit Academy. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Austin.
And I'm your co-host, Ian.
We hope to inspire you with creative content that we can bring with you on your next adventure.
I want to thank you guys for joining us today here at Crit Academy Studios, where everything's made up and your rolls don't matter.
That's right. Your rolls are like a randomly generated weapon without a table. You gotta need that for that.
Yeah, kind of have to have a table.
Kudos
It's gonna get rolled rough.
Kudos to Ian for totally just ad-libbing that because I didn't put one in, so plus 10 cool points to Ian. I am really excited for today's episode. We got lots of good stuff to talk about. We're bringing you our Unearthed tips and tricks, and of course we're going to be covering our most recent release, Witiker's Well of Wondrous Items. But before that, I'd like to take a moment to do a little bit of house cleanup. We've been working diligently on our Capes and Crooks upcoming Kickstarter, so that's super exciting. If you love superheroes and you love D&D, we chose the 5th edition rule set to explore superheroes, and so we're going to be having that Kickstarter launching soon. Keep an eye out for the date specifically. If you're interested in this and you want to get notified when our Kickstarter does go live and you want to back us, you can head on over to critacademy.com/capes and crooks. It's super awesome if we can get a lot of people to back in like the first 24 hours, because that really can help determine the success or failure of a Kickstarter project. This is one of the biggest projects we've done, being, over 350 pages estimated right now. And so the more backers we get, the more likely we are to hit our funding goal. So if that sounds like something you'd want to do, please consider checking it out. Our Memorable Monsters, we've just released a draft PDF to our backers last week. So we got some editing advice from them, and that'll be undergoing a few final touches in the next couple days. And hopefully we'll be sending out some of our work to get a test print, so I'm super excited for that.
Yeah,
for sure.
So that's where we are. Before we get into our main topic of Witiker's Well of Wondrous Items, we like to start off every episode by giving away fat loots, don't we, Austin?
Absolutely, and right now our new Fat Loot giveaway today is something I really enjoy because if you all know me, you're gonna tell immediately. Is Werewolves versus Vampires Assault on Blood Tower for 5th edition. And now, if you couldn't tell, it's the vampire part. For those who are new here, heroes is what the priesthood of Eshed called you and your party. Magyari, a prominent member of the priesthood, has been taken by the vampire Countess Elizabeth to Blood Tower. You have been tasked to save Magyari and finally slay the Countess. Many have tried for over a century and have failed. Now, you being the protagonist, you have been given a Monster Hunter pack and a couple of potions. The idea is for you and your party to become werewolves, using its benefits to finally end the Countess. Now, our winner today is WJ Cutler at yahoo.com. Congratulations!
Woo!
You are the winner who will hopefully slay the Countess.
What a cool adventure.
Yeah, if you didn't win or get to go on this cool little adventure, don't worry about it. Head over to critacademy.com and you can always subscribe for your chance to win on whatever the next product that we will give away is.
Yes. With that, I would like to say thank you to all the D&D, DMs Guild, Drive-Thru RPG content creators that have been submitting prizes for us to give away. Thank you guys very much. They love Crit Nation just as much as we do. So, our main topic today, Witiker's Well of Wondrous Items. Ian, would you like to give us the little flavor text that starts the book off?
Sure. Brazek lets out a fearsome wail. The anger and rage from his permeates the bones of those that stand before him as a cowardice that fills their hearts. Brazek locks eyes with the archer that loosed an arrow into his left shoulder. Finally, he wraps his calloused fingers around the arrow shaft, pulls it out with a snarl, and tosses it aside. He raises his great axe, the blade emanating in the icy mist, and Grazak charges forward in a frenzied roar.
It just occurred to me somebody color-coded those, so my bad.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused by that. I'm like, whatever.
My bad.
Honestly, if you want to take it away, go for it.
No, I'll cover what you have covered for him.
Okay. Magic permeates the fantasy world and is at the core of sword and sorcery games. Magic comes in a variety of shapes and sizes. Sometimes it's alive, sometimes it's not. From powerful artifacts that keep cities afloat in the sky to a magical blade that bursts into flame with a simple command word.
Adventuring is dangerous work, and it is almost a guarantee, no matter how powerful, agile, or tactful an adventurer is, they'll end up against something that mundane weapons just can't hurt. The
Like
power,
werewolves.
the power stored within magical weapons is one that the adventurers spend their career chasing. Making treasure chests, hoards, or just items used by enemies can add much more variety to your game. This generator is designed to help that along. Now, as I have told you guys before, I am a huge fan of the action RPG genre. I love Path of Exile. I love Diablo, Wolcent. All those even various spin-offs of it are something that has always been super great. And when I decided I wanted to do a magic item generator, I wanted to take the inspiration from that. And I wanted that to be part of the process of being able to put loot together without really thinking about it, because one of my, and I know this is going to sound really weird, one of my favorite parts of 4th edition was that loot just rained from the heavens.
Yes.
3.5 for that matter.
Yeah.
We actually had a table of how to build your own.
Yeah, you cut off you cut off the head of a wolf and out drops a magical sword.
Yeah, honestly.
Or a werewolf. But
I never really, now that you say that, I never really put it into perspective that, yes, I just beheaded this wolf, and next thing you know, I get this, like, great sword of burning fire that comes out of it. I'm like, ew. Never really put 2 and 2 together for that one.
right? I
That's
think
kind of
that's
interesting.
I think that's kind of something that just gets overlooked in video games in general. But anyways, I know D&D is not a video game, but as players, we love magical items. And the one thing that really is the downfall of 5th edition is the focus isn't on magic items. That's more of an afterthought, because they wanted the focus to be on the story and not just where's my next item coming from. But some players like that, right?
Yeah, especially since at higher levels, you pretty much need magic items for the martial classes to even damage some enemies.
Yeah. So with this generator, it was kind of a jumping off point using some of those strategies. And in those strategies of action RPG genre, they use affixes and prefixes to generate item effects. So a prefix of frosted, for instance, likely is going to apply some sort of cold effect to your weapon, right? And you would get these other suffixes of the black dragon, right? And so you get once those are combined with a specific type of weapon, you get a variety of combinations. So I wanted to create this D&D collection of tables that the DM could not only roll on to get random effects, but they could even control it a little bit. So let's say you don't want to give a lot of super powerful items. Well, there's a rating system that says, well, if you only roll on these tables, you'll be able to easily keep it within the bounds, even if that bound is common. There's lots of common stuff in here that just has really cool effects, but not so much power, I guess. So
Yeah, they don't harm the game.
Yeah.
Particularly one way or another.
Yeah.
No.
So before we dive into this, I'm going to switch to the PDF so that people can see. What were your guys' overall thoughts kind of going through this and how it was laid out?
I think the rarity system was by far one of the most intriguing things about it, and I hope to ask you a little bit about it when we kind of delve deeper into it, because I do have some questions that I want to ask, because I think it would be very interesting to see kind of how your thought was going into it.
I did think the rarity was a nice touch, without question. And I also like the fact that you include not just magical items, but even armor as well, and a few other miscellaneous things here and there. And not, though rare, there are some effects in here that are not entirely positive for the player.
Oh yeah, there's definitely ways to get. There's some cursed features in there as well. So I
And
want
potions too.
and potions too. Yeah, like one of the poisons. So anyway, so I kind of want to talk about this as we kind of scroll through it. What do you guys think of the layout? I really enjoyed that came out with the magical blue color scheme. I love the cover art turned out great. I just think that's fantastic. That's Critical Hits made that, and it fit the theme and everything perfect. The idea behind this product is that a powerful wizard imbued in an entire like well full of arcane chaotic energies that really aren't control. You can't really control them, so you get this kind of you dip something in and pull it out, and who knows what happens, right?
Right.
So as we kind of go through this, it's a very simple process, and I think that's one of my favorite parts about it. The tables and stuff are hyperlinked, so you can jump around if you know what it is you want. So starting off with how to even generate these, it's set up in a pretty interesting way. Basically, you're going to roll on a prefix table of the Game Master's choice, and this will be the prefix of the weapon. And then there's another table for weapon items, right? That determines the item. And the reason I like that is because it's an equal distribution. So you're not always going to get a flaming sword. You might get a flaming dagger or a flaming sling. Huh? A sling that sends freaking burning rubble at people? Hell yeah.
The force net of sundering.
Yeah, right. I did randomly generate like an acid one once, which I think I made on the show. I think I used on the show.
I think you might have. I think I recall it.
That was my first experiment with playing with my own generator. Because I don't usually do things like this, but it was really exciting. But anyways, so you come up with these really weird magic item ideas, but the coolest part, and this is just my opinion, is the names that come out of it. So
for sure.
So you start with the prefix table. Let's take a look here. You can see in the image on the screen, we got our rarity level. Basically, I used a point system. So a 0 is a common. 1 is an uncommon, 2 to 3 is rare, 4 to 5 is very rare, and then 6 plus is legendary. Obviously, a legendary plus 7 rating is not as powerful as a legendary, 9 rating. So you still have to use a little bit of your own concepts there. But so here you can see the table of affixes or prefixes. And they come in a variety of different things, but each name kind of fits the theme. So it starts off with one that's honed, right? So when you get the honed prefix, you have a +1 bonus to damage rolls made with this weapon. So the weapon is honed for whatever reason, whether it's a honed dagger or sword. Or how about the Mind Weavers? Your spell save DC and spell attacks increase by 1 when casting spells of psychic that deal psychic damage, right? So there's a lot of those little things that help, but they're conditional, and you'll find those in more of the common rarity stuff. Do you guys have any questions or input or any of these things that really jump out at you at all?
Immediately, because of course I'm going to look at the beginning and the end of the list, because why not?
That's where I hide all the good
and
stuff.
I love painful. It's just something so like you would never, because like when you hear painful, it's like a prefix of something. You don't really think like, is it going to cause my enemies pain? Not really. It says the bearer of this weapon experiences a harmless flash of pain when using this equipment. It doesn't do any damage. You just go, oh, ooh.
and that's funny because it's purely roleplay.
Yeah.
But can you imagine the barbarian having the painful prefix with some other awesome suffix, right? So they've got the painful, great axe of the bear. So it kind of sends like an uncomfortable discomfort through their body, but at the same time that energy reinvigorates them, and the of the bear basically gives you a +1 bonus to your Constitution score up to 20. So there's a bit of a trade-off there, a role play and a slight mechanic advantage, right?
Right.
And so you end up
I
with
really do like that.
the painful great axe of the bear, right? Which is pretty fun.
Right. That's really cool.
Ian?
There is a very long list of stuff here. I don't even know where to begin.
Which is good because that's why
Yeah.
it took me a long time to start tossing that stuff together. So we need to pick an affix. Does either of you have a D20? We're gonna
course
create.
I
We're
do.
gonna create a magic item as we go through this list, right? We're gonna maybe we'll create one for a weapon. So I didn't say it yet, but the generator is broken across 3 different areas: weapon, equipment, which is trinkets, armor, and the like, and then potions. So as we're gonna go through this, we're gonna randomly generate items on the fly, and if one of you wants to type them into the show notes for later, we'll make them we can copy and make it available to everyone. So who wants to roll on this prefix now? There's different ranges, right? So we can either, as the GM, can decide that the rarity is going to be a weaker item, so we'll roll on the common, or we can scroll down. You can see that there's a rarity for the uncommon, which they start to get a little bit more mechanically advanced right here. And then you go even farther, you've got the there's a big list for uncommon, right? And then jumps right into go lay down. Come on, baby girl.
I should probably get a D100 then.
Yeah, you want a D100. I'm sorry, I said a D20, didn't I?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, no, D100. And you can see
I
that.
got a D100 on me right here.
And so as you guys are scrolling through these, do any of these powers really jump out at you that you think is really just interesting or intriguing?
I know, like a few that I saw us going through. I thought some that like gave you resistance, or in some cases even immunity to some elements. It's kind of nice, situational, but nice.
Yeah, and
I
that's
love-
part of it. Go ahead.
I love the blazing prefix, where you just, as a bonus action, you could speak this weapon's command word, and that'd be so cool. It could easily, just with a thought, right? It just kind of bursts into flames, or it's always on fire. But no, like, this person has to actively speak the command word, and I always just love like that little bits of role play. Just makes
Brisinga.
yeah, something like that, right? And then it does some other really fun mechanical stuff because it's rare and it's gonna do some pretty hefty things.
Yep, it does fire damage, emits light, just like you would expect of a flame tongue. But it also, while holding the weapon, you can use an action to cast Scorching Ray with a +7 bonus. But you can't use that again until you finish a short or long rest. So basically, you have a Scorching Ray once per short rest.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So, all right. So who's rolling the prefix? Or do we want to determine the quality randomly as well?
Let's determine the quality.
So roll a d4 to determine which chart we're going to roll on for the prefix.
You got D4 on you? Or want me to?
I got it.
It's gonna be a D5 because it goes from common to legendary. And there's 5
Shush you! I don't have a d5, do you? I'll roll a d6 and re-roll on a 6.
Oh, we're going with uncommon, so there.
Oh, okay. We're going with uncommon. So go ahead and roll on the D100 table there, Austin. For uncommon, you said?
We got a 6.
We got a 6.
Which is nothing and boring.
It quite literally is nothing. So the other thing about this generator is because it's random, there's a chance there might not be a prefix. And there's a 1 through 15 chance that it's not going to have a prefix. So that creates, once again, a more randomness that it may not have a suffix. So you might just have Great Axe of the bear and not something before it. But because we want to create something interesting here for the show, why don't you go ahead and roll on it again? And we'll do that
Absolutely.
for any randomly empty fails.
Oh my god, I literally. Oh, okay, hold on. Well, it's a 9. Let me re-roll. Let me re-roll this part right here, so it'll be something different. Okay, there we go. What's 19?
A 19 is frosted.
Okay.
When you hit with an attack with this magic weapon, the target takes an extra 1d4 cold damage and has its speed reduced by 5 feet until the start of your next turn.
All right.
It's pretty weak. Now, on that, I want to talk about the fact that this power comes in 3 levels. You have frosted, frigid, and I forget what the rare one is. But they scale in power of effectiveness across the rarities. So you can have different levels of like ice effects on your on your powers, right? All right, so we managed to get the prefix. So now let's scroll down to the weapons. Once you can see, these definitely come with a lot of text. I do love ghoulish, and it jumps out at me because of the bold text. You can see it there on the screen if you're following along. As an action, you can raise one medium or small humanoid creature as a ghoul under your control for 1 hour. Its statisticals become that of a ghoul. This feature can't be used again until the next dawn. So that's the ghoulish prefix, which is just fun. Because you got to have stuff in there for the necromancers, right?
Oh, for sure.
Or at the very least, cannon fodder. What did you
And
guys...
you know what? We have Matt in chat here, and he has his dice roller open. Matt, go ahead and roll for the weapon. Let's see what we get.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Could be fun.
So I'm scrolling through here. We got to the magical weapon base, which is a D100 table. I did include, like, the net and stuff, which I think is girl.
D100, Matt.
D100. So what are your guys' thoughts on the layout? I mean, I went for a more sleek design, which is my way of saying simple.
I think that is...
He got an 18.
He got an 18 on the magic weapons. So this is a sickle.
That's a sickle.
So we have a frosted sickle.
We got a sickle. I kind of like that.
Why are you giggling over there, honey?
We haven't had a sickle in a while.
But right there, I'm glad that happened because that's exactly what I'm talking about. There's very few magic items that range on the magic weapon spectrum, and the same goes for armor and like trinkets and stuff, right? And that's something I wanted to capture because I got like trinkets and shit like up the wazoo. So we've got the frosted sickle. The sickle does what? That's a 1d4 slashing light weapon, which means it can be dual wielded. So now if you get 2 light weapons,
this is a ninja's weapon.
Yeah, or a farmer. Could be a farmer too.
Probably a farmer.
That is like some big extremes. Like it's a farming weapon. It's also that of a master assassin.
Oh, I mean, a ninja. Okay, ninjas were mostly farmers though.
Okay.
And that's how come they had like sickles and stuff. That's how come like that trend exists because
and that's exactly
farmer's item.
What they did in Mortal Kombat with Scorpion's kunai too, right? I think it starts off as like a tool that he was using in the garden or whatever. I think it finally became a kunai, but anyways, roping off an area or some shit. So all right, so we've got the basic weapon, the basic prefix. Now we've got the weapon. Now we need a suffix. We have to decide on the rarity, but before we get to that, do you guys want to tell me about any of these that really jumped out at you? I'm gonna start by talking about one of my favorite ones, if I can find it here. It's super simple and to the point, I guess.
Which was uncommon, right?
What?
Well, they can be different.
They don't have to be the same, right?
All right.
That's the beauty of it, right? If we wanted to keep it a weaker weapon, we can just roll on the common charts. But if we want to give it some true randomness, you roll on which ones, and then you use the point system. You can see on the far right column. Sorry about the dog.
Rare then.
Well, we're gonna determine it randomly. So go ahead and why don't we have you go ahead and roll that D5 or 6 again and see what it is. But anyways, I wanted to talk about one of these that really I liked was a rarity of just rare, and it's called penetrating. Once on each of your turns, when you make an attack, make an attack with this magic weapon, you can make another attack with the same weapon against a different creature that is within 5 feet of the original target and within the range of your weapon. So this, in my mind, this was like thrusting and then hitting the person behind them, but you're basically doing, several strikes, and it gives you that little bit of extra attack if a certain condition is met, which encourages somebody with this weapon to kind of run in and get surrounded by enemies.
Yeah, which is always a good fun.
Yeah. So while Matt is gonna roll us another D20 in the chat, any of these powers for the suffixes really catch your guys' eyes? I mean, there's a lot of them.
There is a lot.
That's how I roll.
Ooh, I really like of mastery, actually.
Well, that's just the one that just won, so tell us about it.
Which is funny because it's just a couple above of penetrating, but of mastery is speak the item's command word. Again, I love command words, and harness its hidden potential. You can make a single weapon attack as a bonus action on each of your turns for 1 minute. obviously no concentration, and you can't use this feature again until next dawn. But the idea of a person just like suddenly becoming extremely skillful with a weapon and like their attacks just are suddenly like almost twice as fast because they're getting a bonus action for this. It's just very cool. I mean, yeah, it does take a bonus action to do a weapon attack, but I mean that's another weapon attack. That's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
and
awesome.
that's definitely a more rarer one. And it looks like that's the one that won with the 14. So we have the
Oh wow.
Frosted Sickle of Mastery.
Ooh.
So it does a little bit of ice damage and allows you to really, and this recharges at dawn, so you can't always harness this weapon's power, right? It runs out. It kind of reminds me of like a resource in the Mistborn series, which I'm reading right now, where they swallow metals and then burn them, and then when it runs out, you're like shit. But up to that point, you can do some pretty amazing stuff. So. One of you had a question about how I did something. Was that you, Austin? What was your question?
So the question was, what determined the rarity of some of these effects? So
I compared them with lots of different magical spells, and other similar features that existed within mechanics already. So, for instance, the Flame Tongue already exists, right? The D&D Flame Tongue. We'll use that as an example because it's pretty straightforward, and people know what it is. So, in the Flame Tongue in 5e, outright is a rare, I think.
I think it's a rare.
This doesn't even actually tell me. So it says it's a rare, so let's look what it does. It casts light and does 2d6 damage. That gives me a metric for damage, right? For regular damage that this person can do, because they can turn it on and off. So I can say, okay, I can expect anything that's going to increase damage to about 12 to fall in the rare category, right? So if I want a weaker one than that, I got to do less than that. That's where the 1d4 came from, right? And that's kind of how I started with damage. And the same thing came with like utility features, right? The basic +1 weapons in D&D, right? You have the +1 5e weapon. I wish I would have pulled these up ahead of time, but so this one talks about it being uncommon is a +1, right? That's an attack. +1 to attack and damage is uncommon. So what do you think I did for common?
Made it less than that?
Well, less than 1 damage.
Less. Well,
it doesn't apply it to both. It either increases damage by 1 or attack roll by 1, not both. So that was kind of how I leveraged whether it should be uncommon or rare. For the different unique effects, which is then how I calculated where each one would fall into. So if you have 2 common effects and one gives plus bonus to attack roll and the other one gives +1 to damage, for instance, that becomes an uncommon weapon, right? And that was kind of how I built the entire structure. And I looked for other things that applied. If there was magic items that had similar effects already, I could look at those and leverage those, especially the staffs. The staffs can do so much, but when you look at them, some are just rare and some are very rare, which if you just look at them from a high level, it doesn't seem like a big deal. But when you actually start to look at like the different mixes of levels of the spells that they give access to and stuff, it becomes more obvious. So that's how I tried to balance it so that it would be an accurate measurement. Scott says, always trust your staff. Yes. Yeah. I got you. I luckily have a good staff. They do good work for me, not my other staff. Anyways, moving on. So that was a really good question. And if you guys got any questions about how this process went, please let me know. All right. So now we've got our magic. We've done our magic item, which was the Frosted Sickle of Mastery, which turns out to it looks like he already gave it the rare metric, so awesome. So now we're going to move into the equipment. So one thing that is really interesting is there's a huge focus on weapons in
yes,
D&D. And while don't get me wrong, there's lots of utility, there's a clear focus on weapons. So I wanted to, yes ma'am.
Please tell me that your book can make a frosted flake of greatness.
A frosted flake of greatness? I don't think it can.
As you were saying frosted sickles, that popped in my head.
Frosted flakes?
Yeah.
My wife's a weirdo.
Of greatness.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. That one totally went over my head. And that moment I wished I was like Drax so I could catch it. All right, so here we go. We're moving into the magic equipment generator. Obviously, this is different, and you'll see that each section gives you rules for building it. Scott says that has to be artifact. All right, so let's talk a little bit about it. Once again, it's reiterated how to build these just in case you need a good reference. And I wanted references for all the different features. So let's get right into it. In the audience, if you have a die roller, go ahead and roll a D100. And we will pick on one of these chairs or one of these tables. But first we need to know what table we're pulling from. And it sounds like Ian's been kind of keeping us on board with that. For the prefix, Ian, for our equipment.
Yep. Oh, the prefix, I rolled for the heck of it and got zealots.
Oh, okay. You just picked one instead of picking on a particular table, right?
Oh, it's going to be uncommon then rare.
Uncommon and then rare.
Uncommon, then rare. Okay.
So you already rolled. You just said F the audience, basically. So what does our zealots do?
Which means I demonstrated that you can get a new item that fast.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
my excuse. I'm sticking with it.
No, and that's the beauty of it, is it's meant to be fast. Sure. Like, at the end of this book, there's 50 randomly generated magic items, and I did them all in like 10 minutes. So it's just, you pound them out, and there's thousands and thousands of combinations. So what does zealots do?
All right, zealots. Also, the equipment glow. Whoa. Equipment glows ever so slightly when standing in a temple or on consecrated land.
So we got a very common item. So,
and if the item I rolled chainmail.
You got chainmail. So this is very cleric already. I'm feeling cleric vibes off of this, right?
Well, let's see if it stays cleric.
So Ian actually pointed out that there are some negative effects. One of the big ones here is the Berserker. I totally stole the feature from the Berserker's axe and now just apply it to any random item that they just become obsessed with. It grants bonuses and stuff, but they become kind of hostile to people around them, which I just think is a lot of fun. Very much that evil item, right?
Mm-hmm.
And finally, the suffix I rolled was of Firelands.
Of Firelands. I don't even remember what that does, but I'm sure it has something to do with fire.
Wearing this, you gain the following benefits. You resist poison damage. On column. Ha! You resist fire damage. You ignore difficult terrain created by hardened lava. You can tolerate temperatures as high as 150 degrees Fahrenheit without any additional protection.
Oh, how didn't that work? So it makes you very defensive against fire. That's interesting. What tier was that in?
I think rare.
Yep. Was that rare? So that's pretty cool. All right. So, Austin, was there anything that jumped out at you as far as some of the powers? I know you're texting right now. I wanted to talk about some of the different features, but it sounds like we just created the Zealot's Chainmail of Firelands. And what's cool about this is if you've got a unique world, you can change some of these names to fit the theme. You know, Firelands just made sense, but you can really toss the item together however you want. I see he's typing, so I don't want to distract him too much.
You're good. You're good.
Doesn't take much.
Keep on going.
All right. So obviously the you can see that I probably should move this so I'm looking at the screen instead of off to the side.
Oh, whoops! I accidentally scrolled ahead and rolled on the wrong table.
So anyways, we're going to go back to letting our audience roll on these. So I want to talk about some of the different features that are not just like traditional damage buffs. Like for instance, the prefix for the pyromancers. Guess what that does? While wearing this equipment, you can use an action to release a rolling wave of fire, filling a 30-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a DC 15 dexterity saving throw. a creature takes 6d8 fire damage and is pushed 10 feet away from you on a failed save. On a successful save, they take half as much damage and isn't pushed back. You can use this feature, or you can't use this feature again until the next dawn. So some of them are very much like one-a-day powers that the weapons give the players, and their prefixes and suffixes kind of reflect what can be expected, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we go ahead and have the audience randomly? We'll go ahead and generate one more to see what we get. So in the audience, why don't you go ahead and roll a D100 for us? Ian, why don't you roll to determine the prefix rarity?
Yeah, happy to. I rolled me a 4. So therefore, that is going to be a...
A rare?
There's a lot of tables. Scroll back up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uncommon to start with.
Okay. So let's go and are waiting for a roll from the audience. I know you're out there, guys. Let's generate this magic item together and come up with something epic. We are doing a magical piece of equipment here on the, what'd you say, common table or uncommon? You said uncommon table.
Common, yep.
Okay.
Uncommon.
All right, uncommon, we got it. We just need a roll. Come on. I know somebody's out there. Anybody, drop us one.
What's the D100?
If not, I'll have to roll it.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and roll it right now and see if it just takes too long. I got it. Nice.
Oh.
Woo. Slash roll 1d. That doesn't work. You probably need to actually roll a die. I don't know that. There we go.
Yeah, it doesn't actually work here, unfortunately.
Yeah,
There's no commands.
Andrew's trying to do it on YouTube.
We got a 63.
We got a 63. So we have the Dracoliches. Dracoliches, which is you have resistance to necrotic damage while wearing this equipment. And so we're going to go ahead, give us another roll there. If you've got a D, you got some dice, got to have a die. Open up Google. If you type it in Google, it also gives you a random roll, if I'm not mistaken. Anybody confirm that? Roll 100. So. Roll D100, I think is what it is.
What is it? It's
Yeah, and it should pop up, so roll a die. Looks like
Andrew got a 32.
So what is our magic item on our 32 list here for the base weapon or base equipment? It's not a weapon. It actually is a chain shirt.
Wait, are we going off of Wondrous item or armor?
Equipment. Oh, I didn't pick which one it was. Let's do Wondrous item. So for a Wondrous item, it will be a headband. So we have a Dracolich's headband. Oh man, this art turned out so. I love this art. Can I just say the artist that did this stuff. His name is I got some Patrick E. Pullen and William McAusland. They did phenomenal. The black and white art turned out great, and it fits the old theme.
Ooh, Scott's roll ended up being inappropriate. He rolled a 38.
Nice. Will that be
the
our
white
suffix?
Dragon.
So we just got the Dracolich's headband of the white dragon. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Ooh, nice. So what is of the white dragon?
Immunity to cold damage.
Ooh, shit. That's fancy. So to reiterate, we have the Dracolich's headband of the white dragon. You're basically resistance to necrotic and immunity to cold. God, I love it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the potions, which honestly is my favorite part because I love consumable items. As you can see, we've got a lot of options here of hag slaying. I love it. So here we got the magic item generator. It's worth noting that we do include the option to get a poison potion. So yeah, really gotta be careful. Once again, we're gonna need a D roll from you, Ian, on the to determine the rarity of the item. And then we'll need more rolls from the audience.
This is going to be legend. Wait for it. Harry.
I hope you're not allergic to dairy. It's
I'll
always
buy
a
very
D100.
rare.
All right, yeah. So that'll be on this table. So I think this one's got very rare plus. I think I compiled them because I didn't want too many. It was very difficult to come up with super powerful bonuses. We got a 97. That gives us superior. Superior. You have a bonus +3 to AC while wearing this equipment. So now we need another roll to determine the base. Oh, wait, hang on. I think I'm in the wrong spot. I totally am in the wrong spot. I didn't go to potions because I'm a schmuck. What rarity was it?
Legendary.
Very rare. Wait,
Very rare.
Legendary.
Very rare.
Legendary.
Yeah.
Legendary for the first, for the prefix. Very rare for the suffix.
Yeah. So the prefix is going to be a 97. I passed it. Uh-oh. I think I just found an error in this PDF. Oh, I just didn't, I don't think I named it. Oh, I'm still in the equipment section, people. Come on. So we're going to get, what was it, a 97?
97.
You have, 97 is aggravating. Roll a d4 for one. Roll a d4 for 1 minute. Subtract the power to your next attack roll or saving throw. Oh no! Before this effect ends, you got a negative effect.
Oh no.
So, as I mentioned, potions come in a variety. We need a quick d20 roll for the type of potion. I see somebody already gave us the next D100 roll. We need a D20 roll to determine the potion type. So we
I got it. What? 20.
So we've got the aggravating supreme, and then we've got a 46 by Andrew of the fire giant. So you got the aggravating supreme potion of the fire giant. So that means when you roll it, when you drink this, roll a d4 for 1 minute. Subtract that number to from your next attack roll or saving throw made before this effect ends. It also heals you for 10d4 plus 20 hit points. I forgot what it was called for a second. And when you drink this potion, your strength score becomes 25 for 1 hour. Damn.
Okay.
So
a mixed bag.
oh yeah, it hit. It's really nuts. So like this, I wanted. You can see in the chart here, we have the base healing potion as a 1 or 2. And if you roll that when choosing the potion, you get a poison potion, which, if you remember, looks exactly like a healing potion. So you very, very well get a whole collection of negative effects when you drink this, leading to a whole bad of everything. Fortunately, the players love the identify spell, right? So they're gonna pay attention to that, right? So what was so in this example is a pretty good one. I like it because it gives us both ends of the spectrum, right? You have the negative, but it's only for 1 minute versus the 25 armor and the hit points for an hour. So there's definitely different trade-offs. I want to talk about a couple of these other effects. Looking at the prefix, is there anything that jumps out at you guys before we move on here?
Well, I know we're already at 745, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's not really that much that jumps out to me immediately without having to look into it, like crazy. So.
All right. The one thing I do want to talk about is my favorite. It's called Ample. This potion contains 1d4 uses. Enough content for 1d4 uses. So a potion that's got multiple uses is great. So if you roll that with something like the fire giant,
that's a lot of fire giant strength you're having.
Right?
That's a lot of meat.
And then, of course, at the end of this, you can see that we generated a whole bunch here. Overall, what do you guys think of the product, the layout, all of it? Spit it out. Let's hear it.
I think it does its job very well, and you never quite know what you're going to get, and it's always going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Even on the flip side, you can absolutely make something that your table would want, right? Like you can just
pick them.
You see this extremely zealous paladin in your party, and he's role playing real well. And you want to reward his maybe not giving him something crazy strong, but you're like, no, I can give him like a zealous or a zealot's chainmail of firelands. He can now quite literally walk on hardened lava because of his zealous nature.
I like that. I like tying that into that because that's the other thing. The DM can just go and pick them if they want.
Yeah,
And decide to use them regularly. Once again, the ample one. That came from the fact in Capes and Crooks, I changed it from potions to like stim packs basically, and that I wanted that to have more than one use. So that's kind of where that stems from. So, alrighty. Overall, if this sounds like something you'd like that's interesting or would be great for your table, you got that DM or that table that loves magic items, consider picking this up. You can head on over to critacademy.com and head on over to the shop and consider picking it up for $4.95. We would much appreciate it. This took a lot of work and a lot of research to put together, so I'm very proud of it.
But now you'll never have to think of a magic item ever again.
It's funny you say that because I'm pretty sure the magic item here for this episode is in fact not generated from.
It's not.
It's not. I think I got it from one of MT Black's books. So
you did. That's funny.
All right, that'll do it for our main topic today. Before we close, that's it. We moved the giveaway, didn't we? Yeah,
Yes.
we did. All right. Well, now on to everyone's favorite part.
And now, what you've all been waiting for. Our Unearthed Tips and Tricks segment, where we bring you new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
I do want to point out that if you're a patron and you're at the Silver Tier Plus, check your email because you should have this in your box, I think, or Gold Tier. It might be Gold Plus. Might be Gold Tier Plus.
Either way, you have this. Go get it.
Yeah, go check it out. All right, so we're doing something a little different here with our UTTs. Who's got the first one?
I do.
I gave it to Ian.
Ian, would you like to tell us about our character concept today?
Sure. The vice of domination. The world demands order. Chaos is a cancer. Undermining civilization's advance. Fomenting crimes. Sowing discord. And encouraging upheaval. Understanding the world's crying need, you crusade for order at any cost. When necessary, enforce your will harshly, making examples of those who are disobedient. Good and evil are methods, not ends. They can both bring stability. You might attempt to serve the greater good even if your methods can be harsh. To channel your vice, you might seek out the basest threats to stability, such as demons, marauding monsters, and other chaotically minded evildoers. Only evil blackguards give in to true tyranny, destroying the hearts and minds of subjects to make certain that they obey every command. Within a group, you push your ideas that involve imposing order on the situation most efficiently. You might have little tolerance for disorganization, even if such a state encourages freedom. You support authority, acknowledging the most effective leader of the group you're in, even if the individual is not you. However, you expect the leader to handle situations competently or to step down. Dominance is earned, not claimed. Yeah.
This is a very, almost Zorax character.
Oh, yeah.
Got a lot of vibes from that. Aside from the whole leadership thing, he doesn't care about being the leader. He'll follow if everyone wants to go a certain direction.
And
but, yeah.
It's always interesting to find a character who's far more aggressive and wants order than somebody who is just a paladin who's expected to want order. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
This is definitely a different approach, which I think probably fits along the vengeance paladin kind of line. I really liked it.
Well.
I thought this was a really cool one. This did come from the D&D 4th edition player's option, Heroes of Shadow. I thought it turned out really great, and I thought it was an awesome character concept, whether it's for an NPC or a PC.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's a really good one. It's pretty simple, straightforward, but it's such a good trope.
Yeah. Our months that'll do it for our character concept. It just occurred to me that I don't think I actually did the put the monster up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch with Austin while I pull that up. And why don't you go ahead and take that one, Austin, and I'll switch with you.
The monster variant?
Yeah.
Sure. So our monster variant today is the Hoodwink Satires. Now, the origin was a doppelganger. So the Hoodwink Satires are often self-centered, greedy, and decadent creatures, unlike some of their forgiving and endearing Fey cousins. They enjoy good wine, food, and many other pleasures. While they can seem docile and friendly, this is often not the case. They use sly trickery and mind reading to take what they desire from others as it pleases them. Satires are usually seek to befriend, in air quotes, travelers they meet. This often means offering them a drink, bemusing them with song and dance, or telling adventure, so on. They can rob them later. Hoodwink Satires can smile and laugh one moment and become bloodthirsty killers the next. Now, you're going to lose the shape changer from the doppelganger because it's not a doppelganger anymore. It's going to gain some new movement speed. It's going to be at 40 feet instead of whatever the original, which I think is 30. It's going to have Fey Charm. The satyr targets one humanoid or beast that it can see within 30 feet of them. If the target can see the satyr, it must succeed on a DC 14 Wisdom saving throw or be magically charmed. The charmed creature regards the satyr as a trusted friend to be heeded and protected. Although the target is under the satyr's control, it takes the satyr's requests or actions in the most favorable way it can. Each time the satyr or its allies do anything harmful to the target, it can repeat the saving throw, ending itself on a success. Otherwise, the target lasts for 24 hours or until the satyr dies, is on a different plane of existence from the target, or ends on a bonus action. If a target saving throw is successful, it is immune to the phase charm for the next 24 hours. It says, hey, wait a minute, you did this to me.
Jeez.
And the satyr can have no more than 2 humanoids and up to 3 beasts charmed at a time. It also has a legendary action of 1, which is Brutal Ram. If the satyr moves at least 20 feet straight toward a target, the target must succeed on a DC 14 strength saving throw or become stunned until its next turn.
Ooh, that's savage.
That's brutal.
That is brutal.
Just runs right into him.
Um,
Stunned is also horrifying.
Yes, it is. Actually, in Capes and Crooks, I finally. So, do you know how some of the lightning powers have like the can't take reactions?
Mm-hmm.
I called that shocked, and because I felt power should have stuns, but stun is so powerful. I was like, I gotta have something between it, so I took called shocked, and I used the lightning mechanic. But yeah, stun is brutal as hell. I really like the idea of having something designed to befriend the players and get to know them, and that is. So I'm reading Mistborn series again. I'm in the 3rd book again, and there's a character in there who openly just manipulates people with his powers. He doesn't hide it. Everyone's aware he's doing it, and it creates a very interesting character. And I thought that would just be an awesome kind of idea for a monster who openly manipulates people. But if you aren't aware of that, or until you're aware of that, they seem like they're your best friend in the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about the powers of the Fey Charm and the Brutal Ram?
Fey Charm just seems like Friends, but on steroids.
Yep. And like we said, the Brutal Ram, to be in the receiving end of that thing. And I also imagine a spellcaster might be on the receiving end of that.
Yeah. I would also even say it's pretty brutal. So if you're checking this out, all the stuff in our UTT does show up in our Unearthed Tips and Tricks magazine that our patrons get for free and is for available at our website. You can see the quality of this beautiful artwork, and the layout and everything is beautiful. Once again, if you're looking for good resources for your games, consider supporting the show and checking those things out. A lot of work goes into those. Alrighty. Do you guys have anything else on this? I mean, as players, how would you feel about running into this?
It'd be... The issue is like, you always want to give the monster the benefit of the doubt. Like, no, maybe it is actually just nice this time. Maybe it's different because, of course, it's approached us. But I
Mhm.
mean, unfortunately, sometimes the tropes do add up, and it is going to kill us. So it'd be really tough to be like to just be like, this thing is evil immediately. Get rid of it.
Right.
And I think that's like the moral quandary I'd have with it. Like if I was Zorax, I'd be like, this thing doesn't benefit us. It needs to die. Like it's
Yes.
thankfully that character is so straightforward.
Yeah, you don't mess around. So.
Oh man, kicked the goblin through a portal just to see if it would kill him or not. And then it did. So he decided we're not going in the portal.
All right. I think that'll do it for our monster variant, the Hoodwink Satyrs.
It's very good.
Our encounter of the podcast is the Alluring Mesas.
Ooh.
Here we have, so Krusk Flameaxe sent out a call to action for adventurers in the area, seeking help investigating the disappearance of some of High Bluff's regular merchants and traders. Since his call to action, several adventurers have taken up the job, but none have yet to return from their investigation. A few months ago, twin harpies made their way into the dragon's spine. Their sadistic glee in the suffering and death led them to this area of high traffic. Jeez. Not only that, the general and nature of the rising mesas make for a perfect place to easily hide their nests and activities. The harpies have been luring victims to their death with their luring song since settling. They have formed a nest and are looking to breed and make this a bountiful area their new home.
Oh dear.
Oh, geez. That's
It's a rough job that the adventurers took up.
Yeah, it's definitely a pain in the butt. What do you guys think about this? So for those that don't know, mesas are like giant pillars in the middle of a canyon that are high off the ground, right? If you ever played World of Warcraft, totally inspired by the Thousand Needles. So,
Yeah.
what do you guys think?
I think this location and the fact that they're dealing with harpies makes the players very easily on the receiving end of hit and run attacks.
Yes, because you can't chase them. Because they just fly right off the edge of the mesa and the plateaus. And that's actually, so in all straight honesty, this is from a segment of a project I'm working on that's coming out in the future. That's all about, building encounters. And this was one of the first ones I wrote. Obviously, it's really condensed, but I fell in love with it that I just wanted to share the overall concept with everyone. The idea of just drawing, singing and drawing them to their death is a new, is a new take on the whole siren thing, right? Which they usually drown, and this one you just go splat.
Yeah. Except in this case, it's like for a while.
Overall, what do you guys think?
I just like it. I like the idea of having to a lot of D&D games tend to feel pretty grounded, and this one will make it feel very not grounded. Everything feels like it's going to hurt you because you are in constant fear of falling off into your death.
And that's really cool. In the artwork for the map, there's giant, between the different mesas, there's giant roped bridges, right? So it leads to the battles on the bridges where your mobility is very limited, and they can cut them down out from underneath you, and it makes for a fantastic encounter, I think.
I think so as well.
Horny Bard, Siren Splat. Funny. Anything else on this?
That's good.
All right, Ian, would you like to take our magic item?
Our magic item comes from MT Black's The Book of Wondrous Magic from 5e. The item is the Forged Wrought Arm. Wondrous item, very rare. This articulate device is made of bronze and is shaped like the arm of a medium-sized humanoid. You can attach it to your shoulder with a harness. It cannot be removed except by you. If used to replace a missing arm, it works just like a natural limb. If you have two arms, you can also attach it to either shoulder and it can function as a third arm under your control. In this case, the item requires attunement. In combat, this arm can hold an item such as a rod or a shield. You can also use a third arm as your other hand when fighting with 2 weapons, but you cannot use it to fight with 3 weapons simultaneously.
Hmm.
Well, that's dope as hell.
Yeah, this is fucking cool. Damn.
I think it's every fighter's wet dream because now the third arm can hold a weapon or a shield, and they can still do wield. Like, this is.
Yo, I could great sword and long sword. Absolutely. I could great sword with a shield. Ah!
I just love the idea of an adventurer running around with a mechanical arm just hanging from his shoulder. Get 2 of these, now you're fighting a lot like Goro from Mortal Kombat, which I'm really excited to see come out this week.
Ooh, so good.
Yeah. Anything else
what
on
was
this?
that?
I thought Ian was going to say something.
Yeah.
I think this is interesting just from the fact that you don't really see missing limbs dealt with too much, especially in 5th edition.
Yeah, that's one of the
And
reasons.
Yeah.
you can easily spin this off into other limbs like a leg easily enough, even if it's just for basic movement.
Yeah. Dude, totally super movement. Like, if you did it for legs, they can get like an increase, double their jump height or something, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. I really like that. That's actually one of the reasons why I picked it, because it dealt with something that doesn't happen often. And knowing there's things like this out there can make losing a limb not as a horrible of experience, but creates a memorable character, not unlike Bucky from, the Winter Soldier, right?
Right.
Which is very much what I thought of when I read this in MT Black's Book of Wondrous Magic 5e.
Kind of surprised that like the whole like losing limbs and stuff doesn't happen more in 5e, because it's like this world filled with magic, and you could just kind of like. You could easily just say, yes, this powerful mage comes by and puts your arm right up to your, de-limbed shoulder there, and boop, it's back together, you're good to go.
Well, you got to also remember, though, those components and stuff cost a lot of money that only...
That's true.
Adventurers generally have money, so that's not an issue, but it's something that isn't as common because very few people can actually afford it. But you're right, I would expect, and maybe that's an artificer. What an artificer can do is have a whole shop that's all about prosthetics, which...
Yeah.
Stella Nova's character in our Capes and Crooks is just that. Her shop that she has, the Cynical Machinations, is a place to get prosthetics. So,
Which is very cool.
yeah. All right, I think that'll do it for our magic item. Our Dungeon Master tip is... Oh, there we go. I got it. Oh, he did have it in here. Do I have to scroll through a bunch of hoodwink satyrs to get to... They're out of order. I just thought you didn't have one for the satyr.
They're in order, just alphabetical order.
Oh, well, I'm not going to find the DM one. Whatever. Notes
there. It should be in the... I think it's...
Yeah, it's fine.
It's in the D's.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through them, though. That's the point I was trying to make. There we go. All right, so our Dungeon Master tip is describe. Do you enjoy wonderfully written details and descriptions in your games? Do you find your own skill falling short due to lack of writing, skill, or prep time? Then have you checked out Describe? DSCRYBE, I think. I think I spelled it wrong.
Yeah.
I got it.
There's no... Describe. DSCRYB. There we go. Got it right that
There's
time.
no E at the end?
There's no
Okay.
E. Check out Describe. This powerful online tool allows you to quickly generate professionally written box text for your stories and campaigns. Using its very cool filter system, you can navigate and set the scene you need for it to generate it randomly. It's flavorful descriptions that you just read to your players. Honestly, it's a fantastic way to level up your stories for both you and the players. Best of all, it's a free resource. Now, there are some stuff locked behind a wall, but there's a lot that you can get just for free. And it makes it super great if you're not a very wordy person, or if the players have gone left and you have everything written for the rights, you can kind of just build off of the tool. And I think it's really fantastic in that aspect. So
Absolutely.
because honestly, I for a long time I really struggled with that sort of thing to begin with. I've gotten better over the years as I started writing, and but tools like this, I wish they were around for me previously because they are really, really good. And
Yes, they really do kind of just really take that the DMing to the next level, right? Because like layer 1 DMing is like getting all the rules and foundations right. Layer 2 DMing is making those mechanics work well into the world and make it sound like it makes sense. And then like this is like the latter step even further than that, which is like making it all just sound
Cool.
cool is the word, but there was a better word I was thinking of, but I can't think of it right now. I'm thinking like intrinsic, but that's not the word. It's not invested.
so, and it goes beyond just locations too. It includes like spells and people. Like this one that I just got shows up when I go to the website says charm person. Casting this, so Austin, casting the spell is always a risk, but sometimes the situation makes it necessary. You fix a smile on your face and look forward at your target, thinking about an old friend.
Pretty good.
That is way cooler than
Yeah.
you cast charm person.
I cast charm person.
Yeah.
I crack a smile, give them a quick wink, and they're like, "Whoa."
Oh, that's funny.
That's good,
So
that's good.
apparently, okay, so let's look at this. So when you pick different, I mean, like I said, there's different spells and stuff that you can do, and like I said, as there's a lot is free, there's a lot more hidden. If you can kind of sign up for their like monthly fee, which is a few dollars, but they are a business and they are hiring writers, so it's expected, right? But check it out.
Yeah.
I recommend supporting content creators like that, not just because I am
sure.
one, but yeah. All right, Austin, would you like to tell us about our player tip? Can you lead that introduction?
Our player tip of the podcast is
Don't be a dick.
And our player tip today is character creation, playing it forward. A solid build concept helps you stay true to your characterization goals. Wow, that was a mouthful, and I can't believe I nailed it during character creation and gameplay. As you make choices during character creation and development, think about which options make sense for your idea and how you might explain your chosen options in light of your character's concept. Why does your chosen class present the right method of achieving your goals? What significance does your starting spells and features have in light of your character concept? Do your features and spells need new names or flavor text to describe how you use them? I think that's always kind of a necessary thing in a world filled with magic and whatnot. Imagine that a player chooses to play a scholarly character. They opt to choose the wizard class due to the fact that their power comes from study. As they level up, they look for their options. They look at their options for schools. The player finds themselves drawn to the illusion school. The player might decide that the character's mother's home was surrounded by an illusion to keep them hidden from monsters and bandits. Furthermore, the player may decide to take the disguise self spell to fit this hiding theme to protect themselves. And of course, maybe you can go on even further than that, but that's kind of the idea. So you can always kind of try and you're essentially just trying to like create the mechanics of your character with the concept presented is kind of like the short answer.
Yeah, try and create a sentence that boils down to the essence of your character, and don't be shy about sharing it with the table. When you introduce yourself or plop your miniature on the table, announce, "My half elf wizard, Witiker von Elume III, is a scholar and master of disguise," or at least he thinks he is. You immediately leave the group fun ways to interact with your character.
And that's always so much fun to do. After all, that's why you're there.
Where did the rest of that go?
I think I
don't
might
know.
have accidentally hit cut instead of copy in hindsight.
Yeah, there was more to that. I just finished it, but
I appreciate that.
It was missing, and I was like, I got an extra slide here. Where's the rest of it? Overall, what do you guys think about this player tip?
I think it's good to plan ahead, and this just seems to reinforce that in general.
Like, it's always good to kind of like you have to really sell the character that you're playing. You can't. I mean, while it's totally fine and there's nothing wrong with just playing a character and you just play by the mechanics of your character and you have this personality you're kind of playing with. If that is how your table operates, awesome. But if you really want to take your table to like as a player that like a couple steps forward where you for instance, I was playing Raven the Crow and I was an assassin. Well, I always love to use this damn grappling hook because I'm dumb and just obviously don't want to play the grappling hook as a simple grappling hook that said you gain advantage on climbing. Like, no, it's a grappling hook. And then I suddenly started becoming like I had like almost a fascination of trying to use it in any situation I can, which was unironic. I actually was trying to like, I don't know how to get past this wall of fire, so I'm just gonna grappling hook over and swing through.
I think you nailed it.
It's definitely that kind of like that. There was a sense of theme that was already there. I'm this acrobatic, always trying to think out of the box kind of character.
Right.
And I think I hopefully I sold that pretty well. But
you did, and we still talk about it. We still talk about it,
which is crazy to me
because you got so much good use out of it. Showing, and I think we end up having a player tip about usefulness of more mundane items because of something like that. So,
because like it doesn't and that's kind of just a flaw of 5e, where it's just sometimes it doesn't give you a lot to work with. Because like I think like I said, the grappling hook was literally just you can only gain advantage on climbing. That's it.
You certainly used it for more than that.
I sure did.
Yeah.
So, right. Unless Ian has something to add to that, I think we'll close out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I think it's good to plan ahead, and not only does that help you establish how you roleplay in some circumstances, but might even help you map out how you level up down the road.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the more you think
And there's something to be said about building up towards that.
Yeah, something I've talked about before is when I was running Witiker, he had it. So when you get the backgrounds, you get these random things, and I think one was like an undeciphered note or something of that nature. And when I hit like level 7 or 8, level 5. I finally deciphered what it was, and it was a clue to the fireball spell is what it was. And
that's cool.
I fit it into this object that I was carrying around that just came from my backstory, and it had nothing to do with it, and I just decided, I'm going to say that's what's on there, and that's what I did. And so he comes busting out in the middle of the night, everyone, I cracked the code. It's like 3 a.m. He's like, I cracked it. It's a powerful explosive spell. Woke everyone up. They were all pissed. They didn't get their long rest, but I'll tell you what, it made for great character development.
Absolutely. That sounds awesome.
It was. And totally, this product was based on one of my wizards. So, one of my many wizards. Not the one that died in the first game, though. Anyways, that'll do it for our player tip of the podcast. Don't be a dick. Ooh, that was really good. And you can avoid dickitude by playing it forward during character creation. Now, before we close out here, we have another gift to give away. Compliments of our generous RPG sponsors.
And this giveaway is Drug Gives Me Goosebumps. You love playing D&D with younger players, such as those between the ages of 8 or 12. Do you or your players love spooky stuff? You know, zombies, vampires, witches, and so forth, and want to put them in your game? Curse of Strahd is a great choice for you, but may not be kid-friendly. Until now, Strahd gives me goosebumps as a guide to adapting Curse of Strahd for young players. And today's winner is John Anecki at AOL.com.
Woo! I'm sure I was supposed to delete that. So you
didn't win? Not a problem. Head on over to critacademy.com and scrub for your chance to win. And so definitely edit out the second part of that email address that I blurred out without thinking.
Yeah, no, that's my bad. It's fine. It's not. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I just actively try to avoid it. All right, yeah. So that's really exciting. Ooh, congratulations. Before we close out here, well, we hope you'll join us on our next episode. We're going to be discussing types of RPG adventures. There's a lot. So I'm really excited about that. If you're listening to this episode and it has not come yet, we are going to be attending Dungeon Con Online on the weekend of May 28th. So hopefully you'll come join us. That week our show will be on the Saturday, the 29th. Currently the time slot is picked but not confirmed, so we'll keep you posted on that. I will also be running a play test game of Capes and Crooks the Saturday morning on the 29th at 10 a.m. So if that's something you've been interested in and want to dabble your little hands in and you're dip your toes into superhero mutations, come and maybe sign up and check us out. We'll do some other stuff, but we're still figuring out the logistics of it at the moment. So, all right. If you enjoy the show and you would like to support us, please consider visiting our critacademy.com. Follow us on social media. Leave us a review on iTunes. It really, really helps. Or if you really want to, become join our community and stuff, and really want to show your support, you can become a patron as well. There's lots of cool rewards, tiers, and of a variety of levels. You can come join us. I actually just recently created a whole entire tier that I will run a campaign for you and your friends. It has limited number of slots of one because that's a lot of work, but if you've been wanting to play D&D and don't have a DM or haven't gotten an opportunity, I'm willing to run a game for you and your friends. So not just a game, a campaign, as long as you're a patron. So check that out. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Austin.
I'm your co-host, Ian. Thanks for listening.
Keep your blades sharp and spells prepared, heroes. We'll see you guys later.
Yep.
Adios.
Later.